How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to Before I Forget. This is my video channel inspired by my Instagram channel, 1985 Road Dog. I've gotten a couple messages from people asking me if I had any Ozzy stories and what I thought about this final Ozzy show, Black Sabbath show, etc. I mean, what can you say about Ozzy? He's an OG, as they say. Ozzy. Sabbath, what was the first Sabbath record? 69, 70 in there. So Ozzy's been around forever. In 1979, he released the first Blizzard of Oz record. I was working at important record distributors at the time, and that album was an import only from Europe, from England. Had no American release. So we were selling lots of that first Ozzy import, and then eventually CBS here in America picked it up. It was on Jet Records in England, and I believe it was on Jet here initially through CBS. I've been aware of Ozzy. I mean, I can remember being, 15 years old and hearing Iron Man and Paranoid on the radio, Black Sabbath. So, Ozzy's always been there for me. Like I was just saying, that first Ozzy record, import, sold thousands of that as an import before it was released in America. I saw the first Ozzy tour. I think it was the Palladium. Yes, it was the Palladium in Manhattan. Ozzy with Randy Rhoads. Then I saw the first show Ozzy did after Randy died, with Brad Gillis on guitar, which was, it was, no one knew what was going to happen. Randy died. Ozzy went on. He got Brad Gillis. Brad Gillis didn't stay around very long. Then he had Bernie Torme for a while, and then he finally got Jakey Lee, I believe, was the after Bernie Torme. Anyway, so Ozzy. When I worked for LA Guns, they played a show at the Hollywood Palace in Hollywood in 1988, and Ozzy came down with Zakk Wylde because at the time Ozzy was looking for opening bands for his next tour. Now, Phil Lewis was in the band Girl. Phil Lewis, the singer of LA Guns, was in the band Girl in England before LA Guns. They were on Jet Records. Jet Records was owned by Don Arden, Sharon Osbourne's father. So Phil and Girl were on Jet. Ozzy was on Jet. So they knew each other. And Ozzy came down to the gig at the Palace in Hollywood. He was backstage before the show. He was in his, rehab kind of phase. This is 88. He wasn't drinking. I talk about this in my book, Tales from the Gutter. Ozzy asked for a Coke. I gave him a Coke, and he was, asked me, 10 times if there was any liquor in it. I was like, no, Ozzy, there's no liquor in there. I'm not spiking your Coke. So he was hanging out backstage. He was very nervous, Ozzy. He was like, he was Ozzy, but he was very jittery. They took a photo backstage with LA Guns with Zakk and Ozzy, which has appeared in some magazine. I've seen that photo floating around out there. Ozzy and Zakk watched LA Guns set from the side of the stage. They were there for, I don't know, half of it maybe, and then Ozzy asked me to tell Phil goodbye. He was heading back to the Sunset Marquis Hotel and, look him up and blah, blah, blah. But LA Guns never got on the Ozzy tour. I don't know. The timing just didn't work out. But, I've seen Ozzy live a bunch of times. I saw him way later, Ozfest years and all that kind of thing. But this whole last show, it's like, it's pretty sad to me. If you've seen photos or videos of Ozzy lately, he can barely stand or walk or talk. He's a mess. God bless. The guy ingested lots of drugs and lived a crazy, strenuous life as a rock star. He's he shouldn't be on a stage. It's like, what is he going to be doing? Laying in a hospital bed up there? I mean, sitting on a giant throne? It's just, I don't know, man. I've discussed this whole old rock star thing in past videos. Ozzy's in bad shape. So really what it is, I'm sure, Ozzy's not going to say no. If they can lift him up and carry him and sit him down on the stage, he'll be there. But for everyone else that's involved, all the other bands, it's just like a circle jerk. It's just like, look who's on the bill. Yes, there's Metallica, there's Slayer, there's all these people that are going to jam and play Sabbath and Ozzy songs, and Ozzy's going to sit there in a chair and drooling and waving. It's just sad. I mean, when Ozzy goes, Sharon Osbourne will probably, have his casket up there, and they'll have a concert. And he'll be in the casket tilted up so you could see him. It's just sad. It's like, there's no reason to do this. Yes, okay, he's still alive. Is it any different from a 70-year-old baseball player going out there on the mound and trying to throw the first pitch of the day? It's just like, it's sad to see. Yes, they're still with us, but let's remember them when they weren't on stage drooling in a hospital bed. I'm exaggerating, but I mean, Ozzy's in bad shape. So I don't know what that's going to be. It's really a circle jerk. All the bands involved are all people that are on Sharon Osbourne's good side, people that have never pissed her off, I mean, why is Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins there? What the hell's... Come on. I mean, that guy, don't get me started. And who else is that? Fred Durst. All these people are all people from past Ozfest tours and people that have kissed Sharon's ass and blah, 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 blah. If you cross Sharon Osbourne, believe me, you're not on this Ozzy celebration. On one hand, I understand Sharon, aggressive, successful manager, pushed Ozzy, developed the TV show and all the other stuff. I really respect that side of her. But on the other side, it's like, are you really going to put Ozzy up there in the shape he's in? It's just like, when does it stop? This is why I said she'll have him up there in his coffin, it'll be like a hologram. It's like anything. It's just like, to make more money. It's really a money grab. Yes, it's a celebration of Ozzy and his history and all this stuff. But come on, man. He can't even stand up. He's bad shape. So look, I could be wrong. He could be standing up on stage singing. I don't know. I mean, I've seen videos and pictures of him in the last, 6 months. He don't look good. So for the bands involved, they're not going to say no. Why would you say no? Hey, it's a chance for me to be on stage and, part of Ozzy and Sabbath. I get it, but it's just like a circle jerk to me. It's just like, I don't know. I'm really down on this old rock star shit. It's no different than going to see the Rolling Stones. The last time a couple times I saw the Stones, and Keith Richards has to sit down, and he can't stand up anymore. They have a little place for him to sit now. It's just like, who wants to see that? When you've seen Ozzy in 1980, when you've seen Ozzy on the Bark at the Moon tour with Motley opening, when you've seen Ozzy on the Ultimate Sin tour, who was opening? I think Metallica opened. When you've seen that, when you've seen the Stones pumping hard, amazing, and now they're sitting down on stage. Now Ozzy's in a friggin' wheelchair. It's just like, I don't know. JJ French from Twisted Sister recently did an interview with a guitar magazine. I can't remember the name of it. Damn it, it's Guitar something. But anyway, he was talking about why rock and roll is dead, why it's dead. And I agree with everything he says, because there's no young youth in rock and roll anymore. He was saying when he would go see the bands at the Fillmore East, whoever, Hendrix, The Who, whatever, those band members were in their early to mid-20s, almost the same age as the audience. All the rock bands in the 70s and 80s were the same age as the audience pretty much. Now, all the rock bands are 80 years old. Everybody's 80. There's no young people, so rock is dead and dying. But I always say, rock and roll is dead, but long live rock. Meaning, the songs never die. The attitude maybe won't die. But, I mean, when all you're left with in rock and roll, rock bands are 80-year-olds. It's just like, it's over, you know. So it's a sad thing to see this Ozzy thing. I'm just like, God bless Ozzy Osbourne is all I can say. But it's, you know, it's a little much for me. But anyway, that was put to me by a few people, asked me about my Ozzy experiences and what my thoughts on this reunion, or this final show. I appreciate everybody listening. My Instagram is 1985 Road Dog. My book is Tales from the Gutter and Other Rock and Roll Shenanigans. It's on Amazon globally. And I do sell signed copies. If you want a signed copy through my Instagram, just DM me. Thanks for listening. I hope you're well. Stay safe and speak to you soon. Check.